Guys, this is Catrail here. I'm just here to talk about the identity review and give you a little presentation on what I've been doing this semester. I've had a lot of fun doing this and learning more about social media design, and I'm excited to show you what I got. So just to start out on what I wanted the theme to be, I wanted to do graphic design, make a graphic design page basically, and have a little bit more of a focus to it, just because it seemed kind of broad to me to just do graphic design. So I wanted to make a little theme in there, so I decided, why not have a focus on the outdoors in the visual content. Basically inspiring people to go outside and participate in recreational activity outside. Putting this in a social media setting was interesting for me just because it made me think about like what audience I wanted and like what visual content the audience would like, what my specific audience would like. And so it made me like broaden my perspective more and made me push for more ideas for my content and what I wanted to post. For the logo, that was one of the first things that we started doing this semester. I wanted it to be simple, but I also wanted it to represent the brand. I had a lot of ideas. I'm going to show you some of the ideas that I had. Here we go. Yeah, so those are my thumbnails. They were very complex. I had a lot of fun thinking of them, just because I wanted to incorporate my name, and something to do with the outdoors. In the end, when I was working on that, it did become kind of difficult to figure out how to make it more simple, because I realized the more complicated it was, the more overwhelming it was and less recognizable. That's why I decided to go with a really simple layout of just the name with the trees, as with the tree image within the T's of each word, get out. And it was really simple. It was easy. It was a minimalistic look. I love that look. And it fit in with what I wanted. And keeping content cohesive. That was something that was really important to me, because I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people who run social media channels have, is not keeping their content cohesive, especially to any themes that they have or like visually. And I wanted to make sure each of my channels had the same visuals. Whoops, let's go back. So I made sure that I had the same profile picture, the same cover photo, with the social media setup as you see on like my Facebook page and my Twitter page. These were both when I first made them, and I really like that picture. I took that. I feel like that picture kind of describes kind of what I wanted out of the social media channels, so that was good. And just to go along with that more, this is an example of like the Instagram page, basically making photos that have kind of the same lighting and making sure that they all fit together, they all have the same theme. That was something that was important to me, but I also wanted to incorporate like more creative aspects to it, not just outdoors, since, obviously I'm a graphic designer, I appreciate creativity. That was super important. Just like that row, I really like the Instagram rows, so I like that they all have like the same lighting and same kind of feel to it. That was important. Okay, so followings and engagements. Something that was really important for me, for the social media channel, was to make sure that I was following accounts that fit within my brand. And that would help me, get followers that were interested in the same things. So I followed companies like REI, Columbia, Arc'teryx, Mountain Hardwear, North Face, every single outdoor company that I could think of. Also, following different foundations like the National Park Services, Wildlife Foundation, Nature Conservancy, anything that having to do with the outdoors. I followed on Instagram and Twitter. And that basically, I did that initially to help me get followers, because that's, when they see that I follow that, obviously that's where my intended audience goes to. Also using hashtags like get outside, get out, help with engagement and getting more followers into the accounts. And this is just some examples of some of the content that I put out. This light bulb was from the article about learning ways to get creative, and I talked a little bit more about going outside and different ways to get over roadblocks. This is one of the first pictures that I did, talking about the creative process as well as a graphic designer. And then these kind of have to do more with the outdoors. Doing this, as you can tell, I like having that more white feel to it. That's probably the biggest thing that is cohesive about them all. which was super important to me. And that was also the video that we did, which I had a lot of fun doing. And, okay, let's talk about statistics. So obviously, it wasn't a huge dramatic change. From Twitter, I believe on Twitter I had the most followers. I went from 0 followers to 4 followers. Instagram 0 to 2, and then Facebook 0 to 2. On Twitter, impressions average per tweet was about 40 impressions, so about 40 different people saw my tweets. And the amount of retweets, 0. Unfortunately, the amount of likes on Facebook was about 3. Facebook people reached about 3. So obviously, like, it's not the best thing in the world, but I feel like within this process, I've learned a lot about, like, how to present yourself on social media, how to be business-like on social media, and how it all kind of goes into that. And I feel like part of the following and part of the engagement came from following these different accounts. I feel like that was probably the strongest point for me, and something that I learned that was very key, very valuable. But I've really enjoyed this class. I've enjoyed making content for these different social media pages, and I can't wait to use this knowledge in the future. Bye.